Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Dreamstruck. We are so excited to have our interim CEO and president, Dan Orchard, with us at the table, at the Dreamstruck table. And we have a whole hour. So we are very blessed and honored to have you here with us, Dan. And just want to say thank you for you're still in the office too. Just want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule to pour into us. So welcome to Dreamstruck.
Awesome. It's great to be here. Thanks, Teresa. And it's only 6 o'clock where I'm from in our time zone, so it's not that late.
Okay, that's great. I hope we're not cutting into your dinner. So we have 6 other superstar directors on. If you all don't mind just saying your name really quickly, because I know throughout the hour we will be asking some questions. So if you can say your name and what state you're in, that would be awesome.
Well, I'm Carol Bishop Houck, and I live in Meridian.
That's
Same
not
as
a
Dan.
state. That's not
Idaho.
a state, Carol.
It's a fine.
Okay.
It's
I'm Dorothy Sanchez, and I am here from Texas.
Amber Turner, also here from Texas.
Emily Goodnet, and I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Kelly Rashaw from Minnesota.
And we may have Debbie Pitts Palmer on, or she'll be joining us. We all know that she's her mother's in the hospital, so it's been kind of hit or miss with her. So, all right, we're gonna.
I see her. Hi, Debbie.
Alabama. Hi, Chesterfield, Alabama. I'm here.
Awesome, excellent. Okay, so we have so many questions, Dan, and I'm sure that you might have some things that you may want to share with us. But if it's okay, we're going to go ahead and dive into this and just see where the questions lead us. So if you don't mind, we have a lot of new consultants. And we all know by now that you are the interim CEO and president of Scentsy. But who was Dan Orchard before Scentsy?
That's a loaded question.
Yes.
Before Scentsy. So where to start? I'm from Idaho, okay, right where Scentsy is for headquarters. You know what? Where should I start? Let's start with my university. So I was going to university, and at that time I needed a good job, something that I could make some pretty good money in. And I speak Mandarin Chinese. And so I found a call center that took Mandarin calls that I could make the most money on with. So that company was a direct selling company. And so I started out basically a consultant support rep, taking English and Chinese calls. That's how I got introduced to direct selling and learned at that time about the compensation plan, learned about generation bonuses, learned about the direct selling model and all of the amazing things that came with it. That's what introduced me. And I did that through university, completed a graduate program as well. And once I graduated from and received my MBA, I decided at that time, and just hold your judgment just for a little bit, because I thought at that time I wanted a real job. Don't hold this over the top of my head forever. I wanted a real job outside and do a different industry and another job. I wanted to try my new skill set, having a master's in business. And so I left that direct selling company and went to another company for a couple of years, working for a Fortune 500 company, and worked in a little box as big corporate would do to someone, and had the life sucked out of me. And so as I was doing that, and I moved from Utah to Idaho, back kind of where I was from in that general area, and was just kind of searching randomly of job opportunities, as I wasn't the happiest person, and definitely had a desire to get back into direct selling. I didn't know what. I knew that there wasn't any direct selling companies in Idaho until I searched. And then when I searched and found Scentsy, it was perfect. At that time, it's 2009, okay? In 2009, for those that were with us at that time, you know exactly what happened. We were about to expand into our very first international market, being Canada. We were about to change our entire ordering system and workstation to a new system. All of this happening, I was hired, and the job application, job description was exactly my resume that I had at my previous direct selling company. It was a match of international expansion. It was a match of country management. It was a match of compensation plan, global compensation plan and global sponsoring, global downlines. And it was almost, I could check off each job description definition with my own CV or resume. And so it was a perfect match. Came in to interview, didn't know anything about Scentsy, believe it or not. And I interviewed with Heidi and Orville. Heidi was not in the interview. She was invited, but at that time she was very, very, very shy. So it was just with Orville, had a couple other people that I interviewed with. I came in thinking, okay, I already have a good job. I don't need another job in whatever this Scentsy business is. Who knows what it was. I came in and was surprised at how it just lit me up, being so excited of getting back into direct selling, but in an Idaho company that I would be proud to work for. And for someone like Heidi and Orville that was at the helm. Those were my inspiring pieces. The interview happened in the same day. I got the job offer that afternoon with a pay cut. And I'm thinking, what the, wait, did you not see my job, my resume? It matched exactly what you're asking someone to do. And I knew there's not a lot of people that had that background. So I'm thinking, okay, I got everything. I can still negotiate. I'm coming back, and wanted to say, okay, I'm happy. I want to take this job, but I need to have a boost in salary. And they came back and said, nope, that's not how we do things here at Scentsy. I'm like, oh my goodness, really testing me out. Going from a Fortune 500 company that, you know, family and friends know that I work for a legit, you know, a real big company, well-known, and then to leave that to go to warmers and wax company that who knows what the lifespan and longevity is going to be, and to take a pay cut, which, by the way, I didn't tell anybody about the pay cut, family members, other than, you know, my wife and immediate family. But I said, all right, you know, there was enough signs, there were enough reasons to take that job as a country manager doing international expansion and introducing the global compensation plan and global downline to Scentsy. And it was a perfect match. And every opportunity from that point, because I've been here 12 years, almost every single year from that point, I've had a new job or a new opportunity that allowed me to expand. And it was just a perfect match for who I am and what Scentsy represents. So maybe a little bit more than what you asked for, Teresa, but that's a little bit of who I was before Scentsy.
No, that's great. And I remember meeting you in Cyprus. So you are married, and how many children?
I have 3 kids.
3
Now
children.
that's a little bit more of a story too, Teresa, and I'll make this a little shorter. I have a boy who's 17, a girl who just turned 14. And then I waited for a little bit, and just to add a little bit more drama to this delay, because I also have a 3rd kid who is turning 2 next month. So a big gap between my kids. That's right, Emily. I see you like that's, I had everything planned out of like empty nester, you know, retirement, like what is that going to be? And then I hit reset And I blame Australia. So we lived overseas and lived on Australia for Scentsy. You guys know that already. But the sand, the sea, the stress just, flows out of you. And then, the rest of the story. We have a 2-year-old that we adore. And she's amazing. So a boy and 2 girls.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Carol, I think Carol
Okay. So you answered quite a few, like, did you choose Scentsy or did Scentsy choose you? And then what was your job before Scentsy? So what is the craziest thing you have eaten during your travels?
Okay.
Because I guess they don't know that you didn't share. You lived over in Australia for a while. You lived in England for a while. You moved your entire family and lived in these different places, opening up the different countries. And so what has been the craziest thing you've eaten?
All right. I've had a lot of crazy food, Carol, like legitimate, like crazy food. But the worst. Wait, craziest or the worst? Craziest.
Oh, you can answer both. Give us both.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. I've had cow brain before. It's okay.
Oh,
It wasn't like terribly good. It had a lot of seasoning, almost like in a curry. At an Indonesian restaurant, by the way, we're not expanding to Indonesia. Okay. Don't read into that, people. But I went to Indonesia to this restaurant and had some cow brain. I'm thinking I'm going to get mad cow disease or whatever, right, from this. And at this restaurant, I'm eating it. You eat it with your hands in Indonesia, or at least at this restaurant. And then they had this trough, like sink with toothpaste at the trough to clean your fingers. And that was the best way to get the smells off your hands. Oh, man. Anyways, that was crazy. The most disgusting thing I had to do with texture. Okay, texture. It was on this cow, like a delicacy in Asia, is eating the lard or the fat in between the skin and the meat of a pig that they would cut out, and it was like gelatin. And then they would cut it into like Jello squares, and it was like the same consistency of Jello that I could, and if you've had Jello before, at least as a kid, which I have had, I would kind of have it go in and out of my teeth, like that. And so I did that with this pig fat, and it was disgusting. But that was the most disgusting. It was more texture than taste. Taste was okay, if I remember right. But texture got me bad. I'm grossing everybody out. That's okay.
that was gross. I have seen that though. I have seen the gelatin squares that are made out of fat. I've seen that, but no way could I ever try it. Okay, Kelly's got a question for you.
Hi, Dan.
Hi,
I'm
Kelly.
stuck between two of these good questions, but I think I'm going to go with, what has been your favorite incentive out of all of the million years? And what is the most rewarding thing about Scentsy? So it's kind of like a two-parter. Favorite incentive trip and why, and your most rewarding thing.
Okay. All right. Incentives is so difficult. You guys, many of you have been on multiple. It's so hard to choose one. It's like picking your favorite child. Mediterranean cruise was incredible because it was like bucket list item of like all of these places. One of my other favorites was actually mentioned by Teresa already, which I'm trying to remember. Kelly, were you on that one too? It was the Cyprus.
I seen you a million times because I always chose Europe. And so it was cool because I always got to know you, but not as like an Orville, so to say, but you were my friend. So it's been super cool because you were my friend first.
Yeah, completely agree, Kelly. And Cyprus, it was so different. So it's over by, if you guys don't know where it is, over by kind of the Middle East. And at that time, if you remember right, Syria is having some difficulties right there, and it's really close by. And Cyprus was known as like a safe haven for certain militaries, but luckily it worked out perfectly. It was an amazing experience. The food was okay, if you guys remember. It wasn't like super good, but just the difference in culture and even the scenery was so unique that it left a lasting impression on me. That one was a lot of fun. The most rewarding, probably, for Scentsy, while being at Scentsy, I've had so many blessings from Scentsy. It's really difficult. Like, I've had a dream kind of position at Scentsy from the very beginning. All of the different opportunities. And it's got to be the end answer to this, Kelly, is that Scentsy has given me an opportunity to make an impact to the business in a way that allows me to be myself in the best way that I can impact it. You know, I get to be myself inside and outside and try to make the biggest impact to Scentsy. But I got to do that as the international expansion manager, coming up with and trying to come up with the international, like, global downline and global compensation plan. I'm like, I know I can nail this, and we can create this entire family instead of just in a specific country. We can create it around the world and create these downlines that encompass everywhere. And then it was country manager for Canada. And I got so close to those leaders and consultants in Canada that I wouldn't trade it for the world. Fell in love with Canada and consultants and knew the potential behind the Scentsy opportunity, because we got to see it and grow up together. Because I started in June in 2009, and Canada opened up in October. So I'm new to Scentsy. Consultants in Canada were new, and we grew up with the growing pains together, some very painful, but we grew up. And then I saw these amazing consultants flourish, and all they needed was an opportunity. And that gave me that everlasting, I will never forget, the power of Scentsy and the power of the individual and what they can accomplish. That I did that for a little bit. Then we expanded into Europe, and then I was a Scentsy brand manager, and then I went back to international emerging markets, and then all of a sudden I'm here. So it was all of these opportunities, but each one I loved that job. And then Heidi and Orville would come to me and say, okay, here's your next opportunity. And I would say, do I have a choice? And then they would say no. And then I would be bumped from that last one and into the next one.
So you just kept moving all over the world.
Oh, it was a crazy ride. I didn't get to live outside the US until the UK, until about I think it was 5 years ago now, a couple of years there and a year and a half or so in Australia, which I wouldn't trade for the world. They were incredible experiences of their own.
That's awesome. So many blessings from Scentsy in so many different ways and so many different avenues and ventures. And it's been a complete blessing. I think I can speak for everybody. For everybody, it's been a blessing. I'm going to hand you off to Dorothy Sanchez.
All right.
I'm a mute button. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hi. Okay, so this is a question that we have. Who is your favorite business mentor or mentors?
Ooh, wow. Wow. Orville and Heidi, number one. And then it's a constant. That's a really, really good question, because there's been so many different aspects that influence my thought process and maybe even leadership philosophy. But I can tell you a certain type of leaders, and then I'll mention a few names in there. You know, Malcolm Gladwell is an incredible mind behind what he does. We brought him to reunion one time. Really interesting dude. In fact, we brought him to where were we at? Austin, Texas, and he is just spoke. think this is how we're crossing backstage and Heidi and Orville are making their announcement, or maybe he's following me a little bit later, but we're both backstage right together. And Orville and Heidi, they're making the announcement of making Heidi the co-CEO and naming me as president at that time. And Malcolm Gladwell is right next to me. And he goes, huh, is that you? And he goes, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. Congratulations. I'm like, whoa, Malcolm Gladwell's telling me that backstage. That was pretty awesome. But can I don't have one. It's a revolving door because I think there is magic found when a certain business leader has everything aligned and does amazing things. So my favorite inspiring leader would probably be a mixture of TED Talks to podcasts to certain books because it's their story. I love listening to their story. And there's two that come to mind that I most recently kind of been following. And Anjali Sud, does that sound right? CEO of Vimeo. You guys have heard of Vimeo, right? Yeah. Go check that out. She took Vimeo, who was a competitor to YouTube. And oh, by the way, YouTube won that race. If you guys didn't know, Vimeo was $40 million company. They had to, and they were still going down that path, still legit, 40 million. That is an incredible company. And they were tracking trends and what customers needed and to understand what that was and to grasp it and to implement it. Not thinking that that was going to change the entire company, but that inspiration and that kind of philosophy of being able to try new things and take an idea and then go and shoot for the moon took a 40 million company to a $5 billion company now, market share. Her story is incredible as well. And so I have that's kind of a revolving door. And then whenever I get down or I need a little bit more motivation, then I just go out and read a consultant story because they are even more incredible of I started out here, this is my background and I'm now here and this is what I'm doing now. Those are incredible. We had a superstar director meeting where we had all the superstar directors together. And I think I said this to everyone, but the power in that room of what you have to accomplish from point A to point B is not easy. It is incredible. And in their own story, it's book worthy. It would be an amazing movie to create from each of those SSDs of how they were able to accomplish what they did. And that is inspiring. So I guess I don't really have one per se, as it is a revolving understanding how people have done amazing things.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I think next, Emily has a question for you.
Hi, Dan. It's great to see you. Thanks for
Hello.
Thanks for carving out a little bit of time for us today. We actually had a question come through in the chat, and I thought it would be a good one to share. So a consultant named Dawn asked, what advice would you give to a new consultant just starting in their Scentsy business?
Very good question. Amazing. So from me, I'll say it this way, from you as their sponsor or their leader, it could be a lot more personal on the story front, but to make something incredible, because we have the benefit to see the impact that Scentsy has on people's lives. That's why we're not embarrassed or shy about bringing up the Scentsy business opportunity at all, right? We have seen how it impacts people's lives. But as a new consultant coming into Scentsy, you need to have a few ingredients to make something very, very special. One is you have to believe in yourself. That's incredibly important. And to always remind yourself of that. The second ingredient is this seed-like conviction. Seed being really small. It doesn't need to be big at the beginning, but you need to have conviction behind it. And when you find out that you believe in yourself and you have this conviction that, okay, I am going to give this a go and try it out, then you will find that the values of Scentsy, the products that are amazing, the fragrances that just are so much fun and creates this environment that allows Scentsy to grow. That seed of conviction creates this momentum, this excitement, this gravity pull that you will all of a sudden be able to attract others to that same opportunity. And when you get more of those people that come into Scentsy thinking similarly to you, then all of a sudden you have this alignment and this force that you are building a Scentsy business, and that you will find that things start aligning with your business. For those leaders that are on this call, for those that started out as essential and have moved up this different titles, you know what I'm talking about, because all of a sudden things seem to line up, and that momentum isn't easily generated every single time and not at the snap of the fingers, because it's a constant work towards this impeccable conviction that is contagious, and then it expands, and then you can reach at your full potential. That is what is pretty magical at Scentsy that cannot be replicated. Can I share one other thing really quickly? Side story that, yeah, I can share this. I had another meeting with another CEO of another company. It doesn't even matter what the company it is, but it was a direct selling company. And they did over 4 months, 200,000 new recruits for that company. Incredible, by the way, because we haven't done that over 12 months. Okay, just so you know, we haven't done it. But in 4 months, they did 200,000 people. Incredible. And they're telling me this story, and they can see the shock on my face. And then so I asked that person, they did this about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And I asked how many consultants do they have now? And they said 165,000 total consultants. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they saw that shock on my face, and they're like, wait, what's going on here? Well, we don't even come close to your 200,000 in a year, but yet our consultants that do come into Scentsy have this incredible experience comparatively, relatively speaking, that they want to stay with Scentsy, and the opportunities that come up and the culture that exists. And this is why culture is so important. I can't even remember the question, by the way. I'm just talking now. But the culture that exists at Scentsy is so incredible and so important. And why your team meeting is so important is because you all have a bit of that culture that, and is so important for you all to fight for, is because we have something magical here, something incredible, and it's worth fighting for. And that is, part of that story. I remember the question now. That is part of the story of why a new consultant should sign up with Scentsy, and to have that knowledge of Scentsy, to share that magic with them.
I love that. Yeah, the culture is huge. I would say, we might not be flashy. We might not be, promoting the big glitz and glam, but we are like the grassroots of direct sales. That's what I honestly think. And I was thinking back to someone that came up when we were talking about when, you kind of filled the role of Heidi and Norval, and you're like the big brother, like the eldest of all the children. It's like, okay, it's your turn now. You are now the man of the house. We're leaving it up to you. And you've done a great job, taking care of all of us and making sure that culture and that community is strong and positive. So thank you so much for that. Amber in Texas has our next question for you. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good.
Hey,
how you doing, Amber?
Clint had to jump in here with me tonight when he heard you were going to be on. So,
Great.
all right. Well, my question is, so what's next for Scentsy, and how are we planning on continuing to evolve in this ever-changing climate that we're in?
Oh man, that is an incredibly important question of what's next for Scentsy. We have lots of things, some things I can share with you, some things I cannot, as you can imagine. So it's more of a, I think a way of thinking that I'll kind of answer this question. There's a few things I can mention. There's like Club 2.0 or Club The Advocate. The next step we're taking with Club is going to be critically important for us for lots of different reasons. We're doing the beta test in Australia and New Zealand right now. That will be coming for all regions and all countries next year. That's going to be very important and something more short-term 2022 impact. International expansion will always play a part of our growth. It'll be important for us to expand. We're excited for future expansion, but that's going to be another important piece that impacts the overall Scentsy family. Another piece that's critically important is more of this philosophy and mindset. Mindset, I've used it a couple of times, but that's almost like a generic term like communications or strategy. Like, what do you mean by that? There are different mindsets that need to exist that Heidi and Orville ingrained into us at Scentsy. One of those is a mindset of creativity. This is not going to ever go away from Scentsy. We are a fragrance company, and we are always looking for fragrance products that allows us to expand, right? We still have our warmers and wax. That's our main products, but expanding our fragrance opportunities and bringing fragrance in all areas of our life is always going to be who we are as a company, and will continue to be and drive our innovation in R&D and bringing new products to all of you. That will never go away. So that mindset of creativity in product innovation, but also in programs and tools as well. A mindset of, let's see here, creativity, courageousness. Mindset of courageousness is another area that I think is critically important, that I'm trying to stretch myself because I know I'm not perfect in this area. If you think back of Heidi and Orville, they have made significant decisions on Scentsy. Excuse me, Kleenex here. Significant bets on Scentsy. Going all in on Scentsy, even bringing in multiple brands, if you guys remember that, and then being able to make the courageous decision to take those away. Having that courageousness to be able to say to an individual or a group that our culture is too important to allow this to happen. We need to protect it at all costs, to stand up when you need to stand up. That courageous mindset is going to be critical for our future growth. Those are a couple of things that we need to have for what's next with Scentsy. And I'm going more philosophical only because we have some things that I can't divulge to everybody in here yet. They are coming. But this mindsets in these different categories, I think, are critically important. Another one is confidence. This is an interesting one because I think, and this is what one of the takeaways I got from Kat Cole was, having a mindset of confidence, not that you know everything, because I know I don't, but the confidence that you can figure it out. If you have the time and you have an amazing support team and you have this incredible opportunity and strong foundation, we can figure it out together and we can accomplish amazing things. Those mindsets will lead us down a path, I believe, to future success and similar to what we've done in the past, but What we did in the past may not get us to where we want to go in the future. But having those tools and that correct way of thinking, I think will help us navigate this crazy world we live in. Just think about this, and this applies for all of our countries. As I just talked with all of our country managers today around the world, we have crazy inflation that is going on right now. The labor market and the labor demand is outrageous. We can tell crazy stories about that. The logistics, manufacturing, and raw material sourcing is out of control. The COVID pandemic impact has turned this world upside down, and this pressure on companies, for one, the pressure on the individuals and their customers, and this opportunity that Scentsy has to make a little bit more of a supplemental income is going to be an amazing opportunity that if we can navigate it correctly together, we can be one of those companies that Orville talked about right before he left, of a hero company, because what people are looking at as far as where should I buy things, they're narrowing their search. They know that there are dramatic impacts to supply chain, and will they get their product, or will they be treated right if they don't get their product? They're looking for these hero companies that have strong values that people trust. And that's a great opportunity for us in the future.
Thank you so much. I know my favorite thing about Scentsy has always been the culture. And when the pandemic started, I mean, you know, I had just recently taken that leap of faith to do this as my full-time job. So I remember us taking a walk in March of 2020 being like, what are we going to do? And little did we know that it was going to turn into hypergrowth and one of the biggest blessings of our life. So we just can't tell you guys how much we appreciate the culture and everything that you do to protect it and make us that hero company, because that is definitely felt through and through me, through our group, through our customers. It's very prevalent. So thank you guys for all you do. And with that, I'm going to pass it to our very own DPP. Debbie Pitts-Palmer has our next question for you.
Hi, Dan. Thank you so much for being here with us. We
Thanks,
all love
DPP.
you. Okay, I'm so excited about this new connection that we have with the Human Rights Museum here in Idaho. Can you tell us more about this new connection?
Yes, sure can. What Debbie's talking about, if you haven't heard, is we have here in Boise, Idaho, actually just probably 10 miles away from us, a human rights center called the Wassmuth Center. And it is an incredible story of kind of the background of how it was created and everything related to it. So what we are going to do is they are starting to expand. It was first formed in 1996. I remember that because I graduated that year. It was a human rights center that we wanted to have in Boise, Idaho. Now, the Wassmuth Center itself at that time was kind of in its infancy and trying to create, okay, who are we going to be and what do we want to represent? And over the last few years, Heidi and Orville have been searching for a partner in what and who that could be. The social issues that happened over this last couple of years have been highlighted with the crazy and terrible stories that had been going on. And it didn't like increase because we've always wanted to partner with someone, but we wanted to find the right partner that focused on what we posted at that time of let's fix us, rather than trying to point our fingers elsewhere. How can we do better ourselves? We were fortunate enough about a year ago to tour the Wassmuth Center. You can find it online if you want to, and find out that their cause is really about the individual and how that individual can be an upstander, someone who steps up and fights for the right things, but has a positive impact on their communities wherever they are in the world. That piece aligned very well with who Scentsy is, about our arrows out, about giving more than we take, about focusing on yourself so that you have the opportunity to help others in need. Combine that with it being right here in Boise, combine that with it being the only Anne Frank memorial in the US. The only one in the US. There are others around the world. The only one in the US can be found in Boise, Idaho, of all places. It's pretty incredible. We are partnering with them. They're expanding. They have this amazing outside tour, and they're expanding their education center and main administrative building. And Scentsy is the main donor for that building. We are happy to be that partner. But it goes well beyond just the building itself and being the main donor, which I'll tell you something in a second, if I remember right, before I forget. But besides just the building donor, we are participating in their Human Rights Certificate Program, which is a program that takes you through a course to help you look at things through a different perspective and grow your insights on how you can influence for good, starting with yourself. This is a program that we're going to start with our leaders, all of our employees, and then as it continues to grow and expand and the capabilities at the Wassmuth Center grows, we're going to expand that further and further. It's an amazing partnership. We're really looking forward to it. And it's going to be an amazing partnership with it. Oh, the thing I was going to share, I don't think we've shared it with anybody, so I should bite my tongue on that one. So I'll wait for that announcement to come out. Sorry to tease you guys, but you guys understand.
Well, thank you so much, Dan, for that. I love it when I had a chance, when SSDs had a chance to tour the museum. It was so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. And next up will be Teresa.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, Dan, a question came in through the chat that I thought was really great. And I know that Superstar Directors, we talk about this on a weekly basis, but Mel Taylor wanted to know, how does Scentsy continue to battle the shipping issues that we're experiencing? And how do these challenges impact consumer pricing?
Oh, wow. Mel must have background in supply chain or know someone who knows the challenges that we go through. I do cover this a lot with our Superstar Directors, so I know you will hear a lot of the things that I've shared, but I think it would be great to share with this group. The shipping has completely turned upside down. Let me give you some numbers just in comparison so that you guys know what we're dealing with in terms of multipliers. In 2019, before all of this craziness happened, our ocean containers for Scentsy, which we have been doing for 17 years, right? We have long lasting relationships and constantly use these shipping and these freight lanes and have really good relationships. Would cost an ocean container would cost $1,200 to $1,500 per container. Okay. In 2020, the very next year, we had the pandemic. So countries were shutting down, people would have to quarantine. So our supply and demand got way out of whack, okay, in 2020. Those ocean containers, and I'm just speaking on that piece alone because it gives you a story that can be applied to final mile delivery, to all sorts of different things. So that $1,200 to $1,500 per container went to $4,000 to $5,000 per container. Okay, so you can see already that there's a 3 times 4 times multiplier going from 2019 to 2020. In 2021, which we all thought we'd be past the pandemic, at least I did and hoped for, which we are not, we're still in it. The next jump has gone from the 4,000 to 5,000 this last year to 12,000 to 15,000 this year. Remember, just 2 years ago, we started at 1,200. We are now at 12,000 to 15,000 with our good relationships. When we know of other companies that may not ship as much as we do around the world, are paying at sometimes $30,000 per container. Luckily, we have those relationships in place. The ocean container bottleneck has just worsened as time has gone on and as this pandemic has continued. That change and that impact to ocean containers isn't changing. That's not going to change anytime soon. While that piece is happening, as you know, for those who were in with Scentsy in 2020, amazing growth, but we had a limit on our total number of packages that we could ship in 2020 because everything shut down from a brick and mortar sense, from a store sense, and all shifted to online shopping, which we all do. And we probably all have like 5 Amazon packages waiting for us at the front door right now. But it shifted and changed the buying behavior of the world, some places more than others. And so what happened to UPS was they were overwhelmed. With FedEx, they were overwhelmed. Now, some companies closed doors and couldn't ship that way. Other companies that were positioned just right had a huge increase, like Scentsy, going from I think you guys know the numbers. We went from 470 million-ish worldwide to 890-ish. In 9 months, we did that increase. And as you can imagine, with our shipping carriers thinking, okay, we need to slow down Scentsy because they are taking double the volume of everyone else when everybody else is trying to ship. And so what we're trying to do is multiple things. I can apply that to raw materials coming into our manufacturing. I can apply it to manufacturing and the labor workers and the impact of that. I can apply it to the pandemic and resources that just human resources, people for jobs. There were significant stipends. There were significant government help so that if people lost jobs, they didn't have to work. That also created this environment of why should I go get a job when I can get maybe some free money this other way. So all of these things impacted this total cost to Scentsy. We have been fighting and scratching and negotiating with all of our partners, every single one of them. And there are things that we are hoping will return to somewhat of a normalcy. 30,000 per ocean container is not going to continue. That is going to stop and come back just slightly. It won't get back to 2019 numbers. So what we have been trying to do, and you've seen this in supermarkets, from petrol, gas prices to all sorts of goods, there's been price increases. We are not looking at doing any sort of price increasing, like everything raised up. We are, and we will be required to at the home office. We must make sure that we are positioned in a way that we can survive and be healthy going into the future. That's part of it. So we will look at strategically all parts of our business to make sure we can do everything and anything we possibly can to keep our prices as low as we can as we go into the future. One of the areas that I could even speak to right now is looking at different ways that we ship. For example, we introduced FedEx. I know some places isn't the best service, but to tell you the truth, FedEx saved us because UPS put a quota on us and FedEx picked up that quota. So we were able to ship out 100% of our products without limiting what you could do. It got so serious last year. We were talking with our SSDs to see if they may volunteer to be a driver for Scentsy to pick up products in a truck that they could hire and deliver it to you and your customers. We got sort of close to that, but luckily we were able to avoid it. We're looking at other services that allow us to have that final mile delivery when all of this craziness is happening. So there are pressures everywhere, from raw materials to manufacturing to freight in to our warehouses to freight out to the customers and to all of you, that we'll have to navigate. Which brings us to a couple of things, right? We've expanded, added another warehouse in the US to get the products out to you quicker and a shorter delivery to maximize those shipping lanes that we'll look at and try to support as best as we can. It also introduces different programs that how do we maximize productivity and efficiency, and programs that help you build your business while trying to limit any cost increases that we have. So this is going to be a constant thing. Companies are choosing right now not to ship their Christmas items to certain countries, even the US, because it's not going to arrive on time, or it is so costly they can't make any money. So they're just refusing to ship it. The pressures of increases in costs are going to cause some companies to close their doors, unfortunately. Really sad if they don't manage it properly because of all of those pressures in the bottom line impact to the business. This is going to be dramatic pressures, but it also introduces incredible opportunity, which I talked to before, the philosophies of understanding how and what's going to happen in the future, so we can make those decisions now and position us even better for when those days come.
Thank you, Dan. Heidi and Orville was right when they said that we were going to be in great hands with Dan the man. So I know that there's a lot that you all shelter us from. I mean, you've shared a lot with us, but even then, you know, to keep everything moving and the momentum going, that there's so much that's handled behind the scenes. And so on behalf of all of us, we just want to say thank you so much. One, you all kept our doors open. You kept boxes moving, even if they may have arrived a little bit later. You know, you all have done some miraculous work on our behalf. So we wanted to say thank you. The other thing I want to thank you for is when we went to Disney, there were some team members in Louisiana that were really kind of struggling with the change from UPS to FedEx. And you sent me a message and was like, meet me at the Animal Kingdom. And we met in Africa, which was, anyway, and you were able to make some changes. And so we love that you hear our voices and that you have our best interests at heart. So again, on behalf of all of us, we want to say thank you so much. And I believe that Carol is up next, and we're getting ready to wrap this up.
Yes. I just had to say, we were ready to volunteer our husbands to come.
I know, but we did have.
I was like, let us know. We got a trailer. We can totally do it.
Yep.
So, and what's funny was in the beginning, I actually wrapped bars, dip scent circles, what were they called? Car candles back then, so that I could get my orders. So I have already volunteered time way in the old days, like 2005.
Yeah, Carol's like a grandma at Scentsy and Scentsy years, right?
Look, I've got all this gray from my business. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so World Tour's coming up, was just announced. We would like to know why. Can you share why they need to attend World Tour, what they'll get out of it, and will we see you on World Tour this year, or are you stuck now at the office? Like you have duties there that are not able to get for you to get away from?
World Tour is one of my favorite events. I'm trying to think if I like it more than SFR. SFR has its own magic. It's completely different. It's like oranges and apples. Okay. So SFR is incredible. You got to go to it. It's like a rock concert mixed in with this incredible party, mixed in with like things that will change your trajectory of your business. That's SFR. World Tour is incredible, completely different. It is home office. And when I say home office, we have a core team that will go out to you in your area of the country or countries, wherever you are. And what happens in this meeting is that we bring in this group, and immediately is a buzz of these consultants that is tangible. You can like feel it as soon as you walk in. And then there is the takeaway that gets you set up perfectly to have an incredible year. This kicks off at the beginning of the year and gets you excited for what products, what programs, new announcements that are coming out for that season that's just about to begin, as well as we get you lined up and trained on what's going to make the biggest impact to your business and set you up for that full year. The people that come to World Tour, we've been able to track different cohorts. That's a funny word, isn't it? Cohorts. The different people that come to our world tours and the success that they have. We are a momentum business. Okay, a momentum business. You create that momentum, and if you do that earlier in the year, it sets up the rest of the year. You stay on that path. It has incredible impact to your business and the success that your future success. So while it's different from SFR, I absolutely love going to World Tour because it's more intimate. We can share those stories and the trainings that come from World Tour in a way we can't do it with thousands of people, close to 10,000 people or so in the SFR event. It's much more intimate and right to your front door almost. Will I be going? Definitely. I'm going to try to hit as many as I possibly can. I think we're going to 45 different cities.
You
I
get
am
to
not
use the
going
jet?
to 45 different cities. Heidi and Orville have a jet that they use, and sometimes they let me use that. And I've used it once since they've been gone, Carol. So I don't abuse it.
So exciting! Yay!
For World Tour, I will be using it just so I can hit maybe 2 sites on a Saturday. Yes, I am going to make some international travel during that time as well, so I could hit other countries as well. But it is incredible. I love the event of World Tour. It's one of my favorite things.
That's super exciting. So leaders are born at events, right? That's one of the things that we talk about all the time. So
true.
Attend and go up. Okay. And next we have Kelly. Kelly is going to kind of wrap us up. We're on the top of the hour.
I remember World Tour. It was one of my first speaking events, and you sent me a text message, and you probably do not remember this, but you sent me a message and you're like, "Hey Kelly, it's Dan Orchard. Is there anything that I can get you for today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a Xanax." And I won't even say your response, but it was pretty cool and personal. And Dan is a real person. Look at him blushing. But that was like one of my favorite Dan moments back in, this is like a million years ago. But we're closing this up now. We're at the top of the hour again, and the main $1 million question is, in your interim, what is your main goal that you want to accomplish?
My main goal. Oh my goodness, that is such a good question. There are so many different goals that I have. I got to figure out like my main goal. In everything that I've been through with Scentsy, and it hasn't been like the smoothest ride for you at Scentsy. You know that sometimes we move before we're, sometimes 100% ready. Sometimes that happens, or there's something that goes wrong. That happens from time to time. I think it will continue to happen from time to time. But what Heidi and Orville has ingrained into me is that no matter what we go through, the goal has to be, and my main goal is to leave it and be in a better place than where we entered the issue or the problem or the situation or the time and specific day of that year. When Heidi and Orville come back, I want to have this company way better than where they left it. That is my main goal. There could be some financial like revenue targets that I would target. They have always said, because I asked them before they left, like, how do you do this? How did you do this? How did you grow it from working out of, funny how we were talking about ocean containers, from an ocean container, asking Carol to come work on site for free so that she can pour her own products and ship it out to herself. Like, how did you take it from that to Scentsy Commons, this incredible building and company 17 years later? How in the world did you do that? And, I'm just running through a million questions in my head while I only had them for, at that time, like 3 weeks left before they left for good. And they said, you know what? And they didn't tell me build this company to this big. They didn't tell me hit this revenue number before we get back. They didn't tell me double the consultant count. They said, love the consultants. And if you do that, it will lead you the right direction. And if we love the consultants, it will lead us to the right decision-making that we need to. And it will also lead us to taking where we are at today and improving it tomorrow. So that's probably my main goal that I want from Scentsy.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly, for with that question. Dan, thank you so much for you and your team loving on us. And I think because of that love that you have for us, we are probably inching close to that $1 billion mark. It's definitely still achievable. So much that you brought Gage the robot back. And I want everyone to know before we close this, that we found out, my team knows how I feel about Gage the robot, but I want you.
Look what I got.
Yes. Dan's responsible for Gage the robot. He approved him. His cold box head. So anyway, I just wanted to, the last question that everyone's asking, Dan, what is your favorite Scentsy scent of all time? Take us out.
All time. First one was Thunderstorm, because we all remember our first one, no matter what. I still love it. Thunderstorm, long time ago, okay? But the one that I like, oh, nice. Oh man, there's too many, but Fuzzy Blanket. I can admit that. I love Fuzzy Blanket, Dorothy, and you can't laugh at it. I love it. I don't know what it is, but I love that one. It's incredible. It's the sandalwood fragrance in it. Anything with sandalwood, I really like. I stay away from gourmands because then it just makes me hungry. But good stuff. That's my favorite, I suppose. Hey, Teresa, if you guys have a second, I can walk outside over here behind me and I can show you the Christmas lights if you guys want to see it for a second.
Thank you.
I just need to make sure that I am connected here as I disconnect.
Well, while he's walking, I'll just say thanks, Dan, for coming on tonight and for taking such good care of us as a company and making sure that we're all doing really good. Thank you.
Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Changed on my screen. Don't worry about that loud sound. Nothing broke. Okay. Sure,
Oh my
there's no one
gosh.
else here. So I'm taking you back, Heidi, in the Orville's area. By the way, I can show you just real quickly. This is Orville's office. Oh, you guys get a little tour apparently that I'm giving you as well. Heidi's office. There we go.
So Dan, did they stick you in between their office?
You would think so. No, I am like just the next hallway over. looking out the other side of the building. But we don't use their offices too much. But they do have a balcony going out, so you guys can see the campus.
Beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
How many miles of lights are there?
43 miles of lights. Pretty incredible. We have our 75-foot tree, which is this one. You can see people down there. Pretty fun, but I don't know how well it came through as far as the picture, the camera. It's from my laptop, but it was a better idea than maybe it looked.
No, we could see it. It looked fine.
Okay.
It was good. Thank you.
You-
And
you
there'll
sound-
be people at the campus, like
Other
our
employees here.
lights bring people to the campus until Christmas time. Like, I mean, thousands of people come to just go through the tunnel and everything.
Yeah, incredible. This is my view. Instead of the Christmas lights, I have all of these gigantic buddies just staring at me.
All day long.
Yep,
And Dan
all day long.
really engaged the robot staring at you. Is he gone for good?
Oh my goodness. He's right outside my
my
office.
Send them to
I got it.
Teresa. Teresa
Send
needs
the large one to Teresa
Yeah.
as a gift. She'll love it.
He can haunt her. He can haunt her dreams.
Yeah, he haunts me a little bit, to tell you the truth.
So for the lights, I just had a quick question. I remember it being like a father and his son, a very small company that did all the lights one year. Is that still the same family-run business that you guys hired to do that?
As far as I know, it is. I know they've done it for multiple years, so I don't know if it was that original group, but Ideal Landscape is the company that does it, and they have been doing it ever since I've known. We've done it for 5 years now, and they're the only ones I know that do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for ending on that note. That was really beautiful to see. And if anyone's ever in the Meridian, Idaho area, every year, as you mentioned, Scentsy puts on the Christmas light show, and the public is welcome to walk through it with families. So again, thank you for even extending yourself longer this evening with us, Dan. We really appreciate you and the entire staff at home office. If you can send our regards. And now let's keep trucking to this $1 billion year. So you love us and we love home office, and that's what makes us fantastic. So thanks so much, Dan. Do you have any closing words for us?
Closing words is you guys are incredible. Like you keep saying thank you to me and I don't really do anything. All I do is like celebrate all of your successes. And I have an amazing team here at the home office. We have amazing consultants that make this possible. In the 1 billion mark, to tell you a little bit, here in November, it's likely, not guaranteed, likely we will surpass 100 million in revenue this month. We've only done that 4 times in Scentsy history. It tells you how good this month is leading out to be. So while you keep saying thank you to me, thank you right back to all of you guys. You make Scentsy. You are Scentsy culture, and you guys are incredible. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you guys. I love it. You guys, make this, everything that I do, worth it.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan. And good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.